The last week has been tumultuous, and we are about to go off on our Christmas break, and the only positive I can see of Partygate is it took Boris Johnson being on the front, the Prime Minister potentially being on the front pages of all the newspapers on Monday morning to then come out in favour of more different approach to Plan B. And I can only say that thank goodness for Partygate, because had that not happened, I do wonder how much longer we would have waited for the government to act and do something. And the reason why this matters is because every single step of the way through this pandemic, we know that the longer we have waited, the worse it gets. The sooner we act, the less we have to act, and the better the benefits are. This morning, the All-Party Parliamentary Group heard from the same experts, many of whom advise the government, and also people who are representing frontline NHS workers. And we were wanting to answer a simple question. What's going on? Tell us about Omicron, but also, is it enough? On Omicron itself, it is startling. Two-day doubling is quite scary. And between the time, if all of us got our boosters today, if all the rest of the population were to have it today, the numbers would increase such that it was 60 times more in the time it takes to develop the immunity, because it takes 12 days, more or less, to develop the immunity after you've had your booster, for you to then become protected. And that's why the two-day doubling matters. And it's true that when you start to put these things in place, when you get that booster immunity in place, then the two-day doubling will increase, which is a good thing because we want the time to increase, which then reduces that peak. And my concern is that we haven't gone fast enough, soon enough. You then look at evidence from places like Denmark. Now, much has been made of South Africa, and it is true to say that the populations aren't directly comparable. There are some things we need to take heed. So, for example, just this morning, there has been new evidence to suggest that Omicron seems to affect children, young children, more than Delta. Now, it takes tiny, tiny amounts of percentages of children getting sick for us to start seeing them following through into hospital admissions. And remember, it's children who are as yet unvaccinated. They have no protection at all. So the first plea I make to the front bench is, where is the plan for children? It needs to go beyond hoping that they're going to be okay, because it would seem this variant is potentially a threat. And I will send the front bench the evidence that I've seen, and it's sincerely alarming, and I hope they take it seriously. But the other thing that we see from Denmark is just the shape of the curves. And Mr. Speaker, I know this is hard to show when we talk, and I will say it for the benefit of Hansard, but the blue line here is Delta, the red line here is Omicron. This is coming, this is data from Denmark. I will post it on Twitter if people want to look at it. But there is a blue line that looks like it's a gentle slope for the benefit of Hansard, and there is a red line that looks like a hockey stick. And that is deeply, deeply alarming. So what does this government need to do? Well, it's gone from Plan A to Plan B, and it's considering, once we get Plan B through, B to C. Now, if I was a teacher before, if that was happening to a student of mine, I would get the parents in and get them to have a chat. Because what we need to do is to go from B to B+. And what does B+ mean? Well, it's booster. Absolutely, it's booster. But we have to recognise between now and then, it's not enough. We need to ventilate our public spaces. We need to provide support for social care, because unblocking those beds in the NHS requires extra support in social care. We need to ensure that test, trace and isolate works. That means allowing people to get tested, and we've seen the issues already, but we also need to help them isolate. We need to limit mixing, and if people won't do it themselves, the government needs to act. And we also need to bear in mind the effect of long COVID in all of this. If there are huge numbers of people that already have it, many, many more are going to. So I urge the government, don't hesitate, act quickly. Please don't curb Christmas. Go from B to B+ now, so we can enjoy the holiday ahead.